So let's look at the Canvas module under Unit 3. You have here 3 materials. Let's open first the 3.1. Who among you, pakichat na lang guys, say yes or no. Who among you have heard of Hans Rosling? Is this your first time to hear about him? So just chat yes or no. Yes kung first time. Okay, good. Okay. Okay, good. Okay, Hans Rosling was a Swedish, well, he could be considered a statistician, but he gave a talk. Are you familiar with TED Talks? He gave a talk in TED Talks about data visualization. So there are 2 videos here. First is the one by Hans Rosling, which is a classic. And then there's another one by David McCandless. I'll just show some parts of the first video, just the first few minutes. And then I really urge you to watch these 2 videos because it will really help you appreciate why data visualization is very important, which is the next part of our lesson. Okay, so let's, okay, so I just want to share computer sound. Mamaya na lang yung attendance. Okay. All right. So let's. I'm going to play this.
About 10 years ago, I took on the task to teach global development to Swedish undergraduate students. That was after having spent about 20 years together with African institutions studying hunger in Africa. So I was sort of expected to know a little about the world. And I started in our medical university, Karolinska Institute. But when you get that opportunity, you get a little nervous. I thought these students coming to us actually have the highest grade you can get in Swedish college system. So I thought maybe they know everything I'm going to teach them about. So I did a pre-test when they came. And one of the questions from which I learned a lot was this one. Which country has the highest child mortality of these 5 pairs? And I put them together so that in each pair of country, one has twice the child mortality of the other. And this means that it's much bigger the difference than the uncertainty of the data. I won't put you at a test here, but it's Turkey, which is highest there, Poland, Russia, Pakistan, and South Africa. And these were the results of the Swedish students. I did it so I got a confidence interval, which was pretty narrow, and I got happy, of course. I had 1.8 right answer out of 5 possible. That means that there was a place for a professor of international health and for my course. But one late night, when I was compiling the report, I really realized my discovery. I have shown that Swedish top students know statistically significantly less about the world than the chimpanzees. Because the chimpanzee would score half right. If I gave them 2 bananas with Sri Lanka and Turkey, they would be right half of the cases. But the students are not there. The problem for me was not ignorance, it was preconceived ideas. I did also an unethical study of the professors of the Karolinska Institute that hands out the Nobel Prize in medicine, and they are on par with the chimpanzee there. So this is where I realized that there was really a need to communicate, because the data of what's happening in the world and the child health of every country is very well aware. So we did this software which displays it like this. Every bubble here is a country. This country over here is China. And this is India. The size of the bubble is the population. And on this axis here, I put fertility rate. Because my students, what they said when they looked upon the world, and I asked them, what do you really think about the world? Huh? Well, I first discovered that the textbook was Tintin mainly. And they said the world is still we and them. And we is Western world, and them is third world. And what do you mean with Western world? I said, well, that's long life in small family, and third world is short life in large family. So this is what I could display here. I put fertility rate here, number of children per woman, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to about 8 children per woman. We have very good data since 1962, 1960 about, on the size of families in all countries. The error margin is narrow. Here I put life expectancy at birth, from 30 years in some countries up to about 70 years. And 1962, there was really a group of countries here that was industrialized countries, and they had small families and long lives. And these were the developing countries. They had large families and they had relatively short lives. Now, what has happened since 1962? We want to see the change. Are the students right? It's still 2 types of countries? Or have these developing countries got smaller families and they live here? Or have they got longer lives and live up there? Let's see. We start the world. And this is all UN statistic that has been available. Here we go. Can you see there? It's China. They're moving against better health. They're improving there. All the green Latin American countries, they are moving towards smaller families. The yellow ones here are the Arabic countries, and they get larger families, but longer lives, but not larger families. The Africans are the green down here, they still remain here. This is India. Indonesia is moving on pretty fast. And in the 80s here, you have Bangladesh still among the African countries there, but now Bangladesh, it's a miracle that happens in the 80s. The imams start to promote family planning, and they move up into that corner. And in 90s, we have the terrible HIV epidemic that takes down the life expectancy of the African countries, and all the rest of the world moves up into the corner where we have long lives and small family, and we have a completely new world.
So how did you find the first part? I hope you found it very interesting. This is telling a story with data. So just using 2 axes, the fertility rate and life expectancy, Hans Rosling was able to tell a beautiful story about how the world has evolved over the years from 1962 to year 2000s as far as life expectancy and fertility rate is concerned. So I hope you're going to continue viewing this, and then also view this, okay, the beauty of data visualization, because that's what our subject is all about. It's being able to plot data. It's being able to come up with a picture of our data. So may I invite you guys to please access these 2 files. So let's first use the ANSCOM data, and then we're going to start with the ggplo2. So kindly open the Excel file, ANSCOM data for class. And then if you're ready, guys, kindly chat if you have the ANSCOM data already. Thank you. The rest, kindly chat if you're ready, if I could proceed already. Okay. Five already, the rest. So around 8 more. Okay. Let's give your other classmates. Okay, thank you. So 10 more seconds and then we proceed. Okay. All right. Thank you, guys. So kindly open first the Excel file. We're going to look at the first worksheet, data number 1. Okay, this is called the ANSCOM's Quartet. And you can go here for references. Edward Tufte, who's the author of The Visual Display of Quantitative Information. And then this article is from the American Statistician Journal, Graphs in Statistical Analysis. So what's this data all about? So let's read what Anscombe has to say. He was saying that it can be difficult to demonstrate the importance of data visualization. Outrightly saying data visualization is very important. It's not enough for us to come up with statistical measures. Some people are of the impression that charts are simply pretty pictures. So they're saying that you can do away with plots or charts. They're just pretty pictures. What's important, some would say, are important information that can be accessed or can be divined through statistical analysis. Okay. Now, an effective and often this is widely used to demonstrate the visualization of your data is in fact in Anscombe's quartet. Okay, let's take a look at this Anscombe's quartet. So these are 4 pairs of numbers: x1, x1, y1, x2, y2, up to x4, y4. Now, interestingly, guys, these are different numbers, but when you get their mean, okay, the average of x1 is 9, the average of y1 is 7.5. Now, x2 has also a mean of 9 and y2 7.5. So pretty close. Okay, so these pairs of numbers have the same mean for the x value and for the y value. Also, it has the same standard deviation. And when you take a look at the correlation between each of the pairs of your x and y, they're the same, 0.82, 0.82, 0.82, 0.82. So based on this, we might be led to conclude that just based on this summary statistics, then the data behave in the same way. Actually, nothing can be further from the truth. So let's plot, for example, x1 and y1. So I highlight this, insert, okay, insert, okay. And then under charts, I'll choose the scatter plot. And here you have, okay, here you have the plot of x1 and y1. Let me just delete this. Okay, so this is how this plot goes. Okay, you can see that there seems to be a positive relationship between the two. As your x is increasing, so is your y. So there seems to be a positive relationship between x1 and y1. Okay, how about the second one, the second pair? Let's also plot this. Insert. Okay, so this is the second pair. Let me remove the grid lines. Okay, so notice, guys, that the first plot and the second plot are really not the same. They're actually quite different from each other. Okay, this one is a curvilinear plot. There's a curved relationship between the variables. While this one, there seems to be a linear relationship between them. And to magnify the example, to explain further, insert. So this is y3, the third pair. Okay, it's a straight line, but there's one outlier here. So they're not at all the same. They're not even close to, the third plot is not even close to y2, nor y1. And then lastly, let's plot the fourth graph. Insert. Okay. If we compare these plots, guys, they're so far away from each other. They're not at all the same. They're not similar. And yet, guys, you find that they have the same summary statistics. So what's our conclusion here? Our conclusion, guys, is that summary statistics are important. However, it's also helpful if we include a visualization of your data. As mentioned here, Okay, we computed for the mean, standard deviation, and correlation, and it could lead one to believe that the data sets are quite similar. Nothing could be further from the truth. After visualizing the data, it was clear that the data sets are very different from each other. So this Anscombe's quartet is not due to simply having 4 different data sets which generate the same statistical properties. It is used to clarify that that the 4 are clearly different and visually distinct from each other, and yet they produce the same statistical properties. All right? Is that clear, guys? So far clear? Kindly chat yes, guys, if there are questions, or if none, kindly chat yes kung clear siya. Okay. So the first lesson to us is that when we do analysis, you don't only do the summary statistics, you don't only do the descriptive statistics. Make sure to plot the data, because plotting the data will also might give you some very vital information that you would, in order to appreciate more the relationship between them. For example, for this one, in the range of 4 up to around 12, there seems to be a positive relationship between your X and your Y. But beyond 12, there seems to be a negative relationship, okay? But this one, all throughout, there seems to be a positive relationship, and so is this. This one does not have any relationship at all, okay? And yet they have the same summary statistics. Okay, let's go now to this example made by Cairo, okay? He created this data source, a dozen data set, which urges people to never trust summary statistics alone. Okay, so we have this first pair, second pair. All in all, there are 12 pairs. And I will leave this to you for your exercise. If you compute for the mean of the X and the Y, their standard deviations, the variance, the correlation, okay, the slope and the intercept, then they will turn out to be the same. Okay, they will have the same values for X and Y. Okay, and yet, just like in what we did a while ago, if we plot this, so let me highlight the figures, our X and our Y, and then if we insert, okay, so this is the plot for the first pair. Okay, and the Cairo called this the away. The away data, they seem to be moving away from each other. Okay, how about the next one? Okay, let's see, let's choose X shapes. Okay, let's just choose some of the diagrams. Okay. Okay, this is for your X. Okay, it looks like an X. And this is way different from your X. And yet they have the same standard deviation, they have the same variance, they have the same mean. Okay, so how can that be? So again, this drives home the point that just computing for the summary statistics will not suffice in appreciating or understanding the data. Okay, let's add some more. So this is your X shape. Let's look at your star. Okay, Control Shift down arrow, Control backspace, then insert. Okay. So this is the star. Who would have believed that this and this have the same summary statistics? Okay, different summary statistics. Same summary statistics, and yet these shapes, the plots, are really different from each other. And maybe let's look at this circle. I'm going to insert again a scatter plot for this. Okay, so this is our circle. If I elongate this a bit, okay, it will approximate the shape of a circle. And yet, guys, as I mentioned, these two have the same mean, standard deviation, correlation, and they're very different from each other. Okay, let's do a few more about this bullseye. So control shift down arrow, control backspace to go back up, and then insert scatter plot. So there you go, there's your bullseye. Okay, so I hope I have made my point clear. Is my point clear, class? That it's not enough to measure the summary statistics. Okay, we have to compute. So could you kindly check, guys? Could you plot the last one and tell me in the chat box what shape do you find here in the last number pair? Okay, thank you. Very good. Okay, did all of you get that, guys? Let's wait for the rest. Paki-chat nga, guys, kung ano nakuha nyo. I hope everybody does it. Okay. All right. Yeah, thank you. You're correct, guys. Okay, i-plot ko rin. Okay. So how do you like the plots, guys? Comment nga about the plots created by Cairo. Any comments about the plots? Cool. Yeah, cute. Yeah, I agree with you guys, no? Cute, cool. Yeah. Yung iba, anong comment nyo? Angas. Creative pogi. Okay, thank you for your comments. Ang gaganda ng comments yan, no? Okay, di ba? Ang galing ni, ni Cairo. So just to illustrate the point that data visualization is very important. Imagine he had to come up with these points just to show that these 12 pairs of data have the same mean, they have the same standard deviation for their x's and their y's, they have the same correlation, and yet they're so different from each other. Siguro pag tanungin ko kayo, pareho kaya ng average yung mga yan? Siguro off the bat, sasabihin nyo, no, magkakaiba sila. But they're the same, guys. They're the same. So this tells us always visualize your data. While data exhibits the normal seeming statistics, plotting the data reveals a different pictures, particularly that of a, sa huli, sa dinosaur. Okay? So cool, cool. All right. So with that, guys, that serves as a backdrop to the importance of our lesson, yung data visualization. And in R, may I request you guys to open the R Markdown file. Okay, itong ggplo2. Okay, so in R, guys, there's a package which includes ggplot2, and that's tidyverse. Pero we're going to go anyway directly to ggplot2 for our lesson for today. So ggplot2, guys, means Grammar of Graphics Plot 2. And so may I invite you to please, if you haven't installed this, paki-install na lang. I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay, may kulang yata, guys. I'm sorry, mukhang kulang yung nabigay ko sa inyo. Kindly just add. Kasama ba dyan yung Psych, yung Smart EDA, Meetan, at saka Summary Tools? Kasama ba? Is it included in your R Markdown file?
Yes, sir.
Kasama, good. Sige. And then kindly install the packages. Okay, for some here, maybe you haven't installed it. If you have done so, then also require the packages. I'll give you a minute or two. So let me pause recording. Okay, so let's take a look at some notes here. So this is all about data visualization, and we're using a theoretical framework in plotting charts, graphs, and that theoretical framework is called the grammar of graphics. The grammar of graphics. So this is a framework, or these are theories on how to plot data, and this is the foundation for ggplo2 package. Okay, just like in English, guys, di ba may mga grammatical rules? So they have components like verbs, nouns, other parts of speech. Okay, and there are rules in order to combine them to form a meaningful statement. You just don't put them in any order and then expect to be understood. Hindi ganon. There is what we call linguistic grammar, and of course it depends on the language. English will have its own, German will have its own, Mandarin will have its own. So depende yung guys, depende sa language. So we have what we call linguistic grammar. Okay, ganun din guys sa graphics. We have what we call the grammar of graphics, which was developed by Leyland Wilkinson in 2005. Okay, and this has become a very important theory as far as data visualization is concerned. So ito yung ginagamit ng mga most data visualization softwares make use of the grammar of graphics, like of course R, and you have Tableau, okay, and other softwares. Now, according to the grammar of graphics, ang isang plot, guys, in order to plot, meron dapat mga components yan. So we look at the several components that make up a graph, okay, or a graphical object. So the three basic components are you have your data, okay, and then you have your static mapping, or mapping for short. Or mapping, and then you have your geom, or your geometric object. Okay, so these are the three basic components. There are others, but I will take a look at these are the most important ones. Ito yung fundamental components ng according to grammar of graphics. First is of course your data. Then your aesthetic mapping. Ito yung coordinate mapping kung tawagin, no? You identify ano yung pupunta sa x-axis, ano yung pupunta sa y-axis, ano yung colors, shape, ng size, with reference to the variables, no? Na papasok dun sa x and y. Okay, that's why it's called mapping. Aesthetic attributes are mapped to the variables in the data set. And third is a geom. This is the object. Circle ba ilalagay? Scatter plot ba? So, anong klaseng geometric object ang ilalagay? So, these are the three components. Of course, without the data, kahit na may aesthetic mapping tayo or geom object, wala mangyayari. Without the aesthetic mapping, hindi rin mag-run yung data natin at saka geom. Without the geom, may data lang at saka may mapping lang, wala rin lalabas na figure kasi hindi natin sinasabi kung ano yung geometric object. Okay, there are other facets or components of your graphic, like facet and position. Okay, but we will focus more on the first three. Magkaka-example din tayo nitong 4 and 5, but not so much. No? Okay, there are other, of course, more complex components like scales, coordinate systems, but that will not be part of this lesson, of this course. However, guys, what's good about learning ggplo2 is that there are so many tutorials out there. Kayo na magsasawa, guys. No? If you're really interested to hone your skills in ggplo2 and position yourself as a competent in as far as our studio and the packages are concerned, then at your disposal are so many materials you can find in the internet. Okay, kaya it's a good time to be learning our studio and the other packages. Okay. Okay. So where are we? Okay. So the plots could be scatter plot. So alam natin ang scatter plot, guys. This is used when you have two quantity. This is for bivariate relationship. Bivariate means dalawang variables. Scatter plot, you have an x, you have an y, and they should be quantitative. Then you have line graphs, used especially for time series. Kung may arrangement yung data, kung may chronology, you use line graphs. Pag hindi chronological yung data, guys, it doesn't make sense to use your line graphs. This is also bivariate. Okay, dalawang din, time and whatever you're measuring. And then you have histograms, box plots and bar plots. We'll be focusing on this 5, but we're going to add more. No? Now, as you know, our studio provides cheat sheets. R provides cheat sheets, not a help. Just take a look at this. Help and then cheat sheets. You have here data visualization. Let's click that. It will open in a PDF. Okay, so this is your cheat sheet. Okay, data visualization with ggplo2, grammar of graphics plot2 cheat sheet. Okay, so these are the basics. This is what I was telling you about a while ago. ggplo2 is based on the grammar of graphics, the idea that you can build every graph from the same components. So what are these 3 basic components? You have a data set, okay? You have a coordinate system, which is your mapping, and then you have your geom. Okay, so 3 components: data, geom, coordinate system, or your mapping. Without any of these 3, guys, you will not have a plot. You will only have a plot if these are complete. Okay, so once again, data, your mapping, your coordinate system, and your geom. So, for example, guys, if you take a look at this one, okay, tinan nyo itong primitives, no? Graphical primitives. So here you're creating an object called A, and the function is ggplot, and then this is your data, economics. And the second one, this is your mapping. AES, that's aesthetics. This is for your mapping. This is for your coordinate system. Okay, where your X is date and your Y is unemployed. So if you plot this, guys, you'll have a blank form. However, when you include the geometric object like this, A plus the object, the geometric path, then you'll have now a plot. Okay, so I leave you guys to peruse over this. Take a look at what can be done. Line segments. So for example, for one variable, ano ba yung maganda? So this is a good guide. If you're plotting, okay, for example, here, one variable na continuous siya. So ito yung pwede mga gawin, geom area, geom density, geom dot plot, etc. So these are good guides for you to use. So pag 2 variables naman, pag parehong continuous, ito yung mga pwedeng gamitin. No? Okay, so let's go back now to, that's available for your use already. So let's go back now to our R file. Okay, and then we're going to use now a package. The package is your Nyc Flights Package. Okay, the Nyc Flights Package has several data sets with it. So let me just see here, Nyc Flights. NYC Flights 13. Let's use this. Let's use the package uh, environment here, NYC Flights, and then pag clinic nyo yan, guys, lalabas yung NYC Flights. Okay, and then if you click this, so this is the documentation for NYC Flights. Okay, and then it tells us that it has 5 data sets with it: airlines, airports, flights, planes, weather. Okay, so ang laman nitong NYC Flights, it's a set of data sets. It's called NYC Flights because these are flights coming from or going to New York City in year 2013. Okay, so we can actually also find the okay, ano ba yung laman ng NYC Flights? So let's just show this. NYC Flights 13. Okay, 13. Okay, so this is the package, and then double colon, you'll see that, okay, after the second colon, di ba binibigay sa atin yung option to choose or to access any of these data sets. Okay, airlines, airports, flights, planes, and weather. Okay, so you can do that, or since we have already required, have I done that? Na-require ko na yata, no? Just to make sure. Okay. This is ggplo2. I don't think I have required this. Okay. ggplo2 also. So gapminder, kahit hindi na muna ngayon kasi hindi pa natin siya gagamitin sa site. Scheme R. Smart EDA. Exploratory data analysis. Metan. Okay, it's taking some time to load. Run pa siya. Okay. Okay lang yan. And then summary tools. Okay. Even if I have installed these packages, but if I don't call them for use for this particular file, then it will not work. Okay, so let's take a look at our data set. It's your data flights. Okay. Apologies, guys. I have so many. Okay, let me just, because I just came from another class. We were using R to do portfolio analysis. Let me just delete this, all of this. Okay, and then once again, get data flights. Okay, so we have flights here. Take note, it's a promise. Ibig sabihin, hindi pa natin talaga nakukuha for use yan. So with view, guys, okay, andyan yung flights natin. So this is our flights data set. Okay, 336,000 rows observations. And then we have 19 variables all in all. Okay, so quite a relatively big data. Okay, so we can ask, okay, natin, ano ba yung names, no? Bagay nasa baba na. Names ng flights. I'd like to know what are the variables. Okay, so 19 siya, no? Year, month, day, okay, etc. So there are 19 variables in this data set and 336,000 plus observations. And then if you take a look at the first six, yung head function, guys, notice that it says here table. A table. A table, guys, is also a data structure. It's similar to a data frame. Only may improvement siya. So nauna yung data frame kasi, tapos they made some changes of the properties of the data frame. Then we have the table. So may mga functionalities sa table na hindi pa pwede sa data frame. Okay, ganun din sa ano. I personally I think that there are some features of data frame na hindi natin magagamit sa table. But generally, guys, si table mas ano siya, mas quote-unquote, mas robust, mas flexible. So it's a table, no? It's a combination of data frame and a table, which we call table. Okay, so ano yung mga laman nito? So we have here the first variable, it's an integer, 2013, then month, it's also an integer month, and then day. So combined, this gives us the day, no? Kaya nga 2013, January 1. Departure time, also in the form of an integer, 517. Scheduled departure time, 515. So dapat umalis yung plane ng 515, pero nakaalis siya ng actual departure is 517. Therefore, we have here your departure delay. 2 minutes, no? It's a double, ibig sabihin, ano siya, yung quantitative, pwedeng may decimal. Okay? So, let me go back to our flights here. All right, so departure time, 5:17. Scheduled departure time, 5:15. Ibig sabihin na delay siya ng 2 minutes, kaya ito may departure delay na 2 minutes. Scheduled arrival time, 8:19, no? Dapat umalis siya ng 8:19, dumating siya ng 8:19, dumating siya ng 8:30. So may delay na 11 minutes. Okay, may mga negative dito, okay, like this, -1. Ano ibig sabihin ng -1 dito? Dapat umalis siya ng 5:45, naka-schedule 5:45. Umalis siya ng 5:44, therefore, -1 minute delay. Ibig sabihin, mas ahead yung pag-alis niya. Same manner, 10:22 dapat yung arrival time, 10:04 dumating, arrival delay is -18. Ibig sabihin, it arrived 18 minutes ahead of time. Okay, so let's once again inspect more. Carriers, airlines, flight number, tapos may tail number pa. Origin. Ano tong origin, guys?
Sir, kung saan galing.
Yes, saan galing? Kasi tatlong airports ang nasa New York City. You have Newark Airport, you have LaGuardia, at saka JFK. So tatlong klase ito, no? Ano kaya ito? Okay. So tatlong airports sa New York City. Okay, ito naman yung destination. Okay. Airtime, kung ilang minutes yata ito nasa yung travel. Distance, number of hours and minutes yung kung gaano galing travel time, and then yung time hour, no? Time hour, this is the ano ba to? 5 hours. So 2013 December 1, 5 here is ano ba tong 5 na to? I'm not sure what the 5 hours, minutes, and seconds here. Okay, anyway, we can check what that is. All right, so this is just to appreciate what this variable, what this data frame is all about. Okay, so let's go back to our markdown. Okay, let's describe the variables. So sabi natin, guys, hindi lang enough na it's important to get the summary statistics. So here we're getting the summary statistics. And then we'll have ipa-plot natin later on using ggplo2. So what does the structure give us, guys? So di ba yung structure, binibigay sa atin yan yung kung anong klaseng data frame, kung anong klaseng data structure. So this is a table. Okay. So sa S3, which is, yung S kasi, that's also a language. So parang R yan. Actually, yung R, guys, nanggaling yan sa S language. Okay, so variation, I think this is variation of the S. So this is, another name to denote table is tbl.df, table data frame. So combination siya ng table at saka ng data frame. So here you have $year. Ang ibig sabihin nito, ano ibig sabihin ng dollar, guys? This is specifying the column. Kasi yung pangalan ng data natin, flights. Tapos yung column is denoted by, if you want to get the column, for example, ng flights, you use flights $year. That means this is the year column, this is the month column, etc. So sinasabi din kung anong klaseng data type siya, integer. Okay, integer. Then you have numeric, integer, may character din tayo, etc. So that's what we get by the structure, no? Structure, binibigay yung different variables plus kung anong klaseng data type siya. Summary naman guys, ito yung 6-number summary natin, di ba? Ayan, 6-number summary natin. So kapag numerical or integer, i-compute niya yung minimum, maximum, first quartile, second quartile, etc. Yung mean. Tapos binibigay din dito yung NAs, yung walang laman, no? Yung empty. So ibig sabihin out of the 336 observations plus dito sa departure time, merong mga empty cells. 8255, walang laman. Okay? NAs. Missing. So yung mga characters, sabi natin, di ba, hindi naman magko-compute ng 6-number summary yan. Bibigay lang sa atin yung count niya at saka kung anong class, which is character. Okay, so these are just reviews, guys. Now, ito hindi pa natin nakuha to. So this is coming. Take note how I wrote this code. This is dplyr, and then glimpse. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, itong function na to na glimpse came from the package dplyr. Okay, so kung hindi nyo pa na call yung dplyr, guys, hindi mag-work tong glimpse na to. So let's run this. Ano ba binibigay ng glimpse? So parang pareho lang siya ng structure. Okay? Medyo mas maayos nga lang yung yung pagka-format, no? Mas naka-align yung mga variables natin, tapos maganda yung pagka-sulat dito, no? Kaysa dun sa structure. Kaysa dun sa structure na function ng base R. So mas maganda yung sa dplyr na glimpse. Maayos yung pagka-present ng outcome. Now, another interesting descriptive or structure or descriptive stat is your scheme function, which came from your scheme R. Let's run this. Okay, so let's take a look at what the scheme function gives us. Okay, so data summary, ano yung name ng data set, number of rows, number of columns. And then ilan dun yung character variables, ilan yung numeric, ilan yung date and time. POSIX, date and time na type of variable. Okay, may mga group variables ba? Wala raw. Okay, so ito guys, may mga konting summary statistics dito ng character, may konting summary statistics ng numeric, and then yung may numeric guys, meron pa siyang histogram. So how your data looks like. Okay, so this is quite impressive. This is a good function to use, yung scheme, and it came from scheme R. So andyan dyan, binibigay sa atin yung average, standard deviation. Ano yung PO, guys? What's your PO? This is your? Anyone? Ibig sabihin ng PO, okay, wala nang ibang value na lower than this. So this is your minimum, no? First quartile, second quartile, third quartile, and then this is your maximum. So yung minimum, P0 yan. Maximum, P100. And you have a histogram here. Tapos yung last na data type natin, yung time R, which is a POSIX CT. Okay? Maximum, median, unique values. All right? Any questions about this scheme R, guys? Any questions? Okay, then we have other descriptive statistics, no? This is coming from, ito galing yun. This is from this package, Smart EDA. Copy ko lang, Control C, so that you know what is okay. So overview din to ng data, guys, yung exploratory data analysis. So the code is exploratory data. Oops, mali ito guys. Dapat data is equal to, data is equal to flights. So data is equal to flights. Okay, medyo pareho din to guys. Type is equal to 1 gives us the overview, and type is equal to 2 gives us the structure. So let's run this both. So dalawa ibibigay sa atin. Okay. Una yung overview, at saka pangalawa yung structure. Pero I still prefer guys yung scheme. No? So sa overview, bibigay sa atin yung sample size, number of rows, number of columns, ilan daw yung numeric, ilan yung factor, ilan yung text, ilan yung character variables, may logical ba, tapos ilan yung date, okay, etc. Then you have some percentages here. And then sa structure naman, okay, yung variable name, variable type, okay, kung may missing ba sa kanya, okay, kung ilan yung distinct values na. Okay? All right, so I leave you guys to look at the other two. Okay, so let's skip that. Let's go kasi gusto kong habulin natin itong mga first lessons natin dito. Okay, so we're now going to do ggplot. We're now going to do some data visualization, plotting. Okay, now from the fly R, Magritte R ba to? I forgot the name. Okay, sandali lang, check ko lang guys para tama yung spelling natin. Ayan. Okay, ito. Magritte. Okay, Magritte R. Okay. So just for the information of the group, Magritte R is a package home to the pipe operator. I'll explain in a while. No? Ano yung pipe operator na to? Just remember this Magritte R. Okay. So Magritte R, okay, tama naman siya. Okay. Now, this one, guys, yung percent greater than percent is what we call a pipe operator. Okay? So, magagamit natin yan kasi na-install na natin si dplyr. And ang ibig sabihin yan, and then. Later on, guys, in the next weeks, we'll have another topic which is wrangling our data. Ibig sabihin ng cleaning, sorting, etc. And we're going to make use of, mag-deep dive naman tayo sa dplyr. Pero just to illustrate, kasi I think that in the reports, some of you already made use of this. No? So, ano ginagawa natin sa code na to? Let me explain. So, we're creating an object called Alaska Flights. Okay? So, take note, this is your assignment operator. Tapos, ito guys, ang ibig sabihin nito, use the data flights and then, okay, and then if you filter down. So the filter function comes from dplyr. So anong gagawin ng filter? The filter function only works with the rows. Ibig sabihin, ang gagawin niya, i-manipulate niya yung mga rows. Tapos, titingnan niya yung variable na carrier. Ano ba yung carrier na variable, guys? Let's take a look at our flights data. Diba ito si carrier? Yung different airlines, diba? Ito UA, DL, EV, etc. No? Different airlines. Tapos ang gagawin niya, if i-filter niya, ang isasali lang niya yung AS, yung Alaska Airlines. Okay? Alright, now how do you write this? How do you write yung pipe operator na yan? Mahaba kasi kung in my keyboard, it's shift, tapos percent, tapos naka-shift ka pa rin, greater than, tapos shift ulit, greater than. That's the pipe operator. And again, ang ibig sabihin niyan, and then. Pagkatapos, parang gano'n. No? Okay, so you can chain After this, pwede ka pang ulit. Pwede ka pa ulit mag-chain to do another function. So that's the beauty, guys, of the pipe operator kasi pwedeng step by step sa isang code lang, one at a time. So sunod-sunod yan, po-process siya ni R, and finally, you come up with this object, Alaska Flights. Okay, the shortcut for the pipe operator, guys, is, ano yung shortcut? Okay. Control-Shift-M, or sa Mac, Command-Shift-M. So if I type Control-Shift and M at the same time, then that gives you very quickly, parang isa lang pinindot natin yung pipe operator. Okay, sa Mac ba, guys, command, no? Tama ba? Mac users? Hello, Mac users?
Sir, question. What's the
Ano?
difference between highlighting both the lines?
Sorry?
Using
Choppy yung ano mo, nawawala yung sound mo. Sorry, hindi ko
so what's the difference if you just highlight both the lines and using function?
Sorry, choppy. Nawawala eh. What's the difference between highlighting what? Yeah, sino yan? Sorry, na-drop yung voice mo eh. Okay, sige. Between just highlighting the codes and using, okay. James, highlighting the codes. What do you mean by highlighting the codes? Highlighting the codes. Okay, kasi ito, no, ang ginagawa natin dito, sige, clarify yung question mo. Running both at the same time. Okay. Running both at the same time, you mean you have several codes tapos i-run na lang siya? If that's what you meant, James, mas mahirap yun. Kunyari, you create several lines of codes muna, tapos saka lang, and then saka mo lang makukuha yung final output na gusto mo. As compared to just one line of code, by chaining, ang tawag nito, chine-chain natin yung code natin. So, di ba, flights muna, we're going to use a data set flights, and then, if you filter natin, tapos pwedeng and then, okay, pwedeng may and then tayo, may gagawin pa, tapos and then ulit. So that's what you call chaining. No? Chine-chain natin yung codes natin. It's faster to understand, no? Kasi it's logical eh, kasi from left to right. No? Unlike kung kunyari magsa-subset tayo. Di ba pag magsa-subset tayo, ginagamit natin yung brackets. And using brackets, ang ginagawa natin from inside to outside. Okay? Now, walang language ang ganun eh, or we don't think that way. Inside of the code and then going outside. Rather, pag nag-isip tayo, di ba, from left to right. From left to right tayo. Flights muna, tapos okay, ano gagawin sa flights? And then nga, if you filter yung flights. So this is actually, di ba, parang, ano siya, di ba, yung syntax ito parang spoken language. Eh. So ang sinasabi natin dito, mag-create tayo ng object na ang tawag flights. Tapos, paano natin gagawin to? Gamitin muna natin data set na flights. Pagkatapos, i-filter natin yon. Paano natin i-filter? Dapat yung carrier lang na equal to Asia, Alaska Airlines. So yun ang advantage, guys, ng using the pipe operator. We'll have several examples, guys, pagpunta natin sa dplyr. And then you'll understand more, okay? I hope, James, that answers the question. In the meantime, no, since hindi pa naman talaga natin inaaral in greater details, dplyr, let's just focus first on creating this object called Alaska Flights. Okay, so i-run na natin to. Run natin. So meron na tayong Alaska Flights dito, no? And notice, 714 observations lang siya, 19 variables. So kasi sa dplyr, guys, yung filter, ang ginagalaw lang natin dyan yung rows. Hindi natin ginagalaw yung columns. Okay, iba pag columns, guys, select ang function nun. So magkaiba yan. No? So anyway, let me highlight yung, let's view yung Alaska flights. So you still have 19 rows pa rin yan, 19 columns. Okay. However, you have only 714 observations or rows. If you take a look at our asan yung AS natin, yung carrier natin, panay AS lang lahat yun. Hanggang dulo, guys. AS. No? Until the end. So if we want to inspect that, inspect lang natin, ha? Okay, in-inspect ko ba dito? Okay, it's a good practice always to get the head, Alaska. Yan. When you type, guys, the name of the object, you don't have to type everything. Kasi may IntelliSense yung ano si R. Yan, binigay sa atin. When I type ALA, nagbigay siya ng choice, no? Alarm o Alaska Flights. Arrow down ako and then tab. Diba? So, mabilis. No? So, head. So, isama na rin natin si tail dito. Tail. Alaska. Ulit. Okay. So here we're running to, okay, head, first 6. So AS siya, no? Tapos tail, last 6 AS pa rin siya. So we can see here upon inspection using the head and the tail that indeed tama yung generate natin. Okay, error in flights, filter. Okay. My question dito, guys, sabi ni James, yung output niya could not find this one. Pag ganyan, ibig sabihin, hindi nyo pa na library si dplyr. Okay? Kindly check, James, kung i-library mo nga si dplyr. Baka hindi mo pa na library to. Okay, hindi lang kasi mag-work yung pipe operator kung, as I mentioned a while ago, hindi pa natin na-require or na-call yung particular package where that comes from. James, can you kindly inform us kung okay na? So that's good, no? Kasi yung mga questions ng classmates nyo, that's good kasi we learn from that. No? Yeah, I appreciate questions really, guys. James, pa-feedback ha kung gumana na. Okay, yan. So good kasi lesson for everyone, guys. Pag ganyan nakakita kayong ganang error, hindi daw makita yung pipe operator. First possibility, okay? Hindi pa naka-install yung package yan. And since we know, I informed you that this comes from the dplyr package, then either hindi pa na-install o kaya na-install na pero hindi pa na-call, na-require. Okay, so we have proven that indeed yung 700 plus yung 714 observations yan, lahat yan, finilter niya na ang pinapasok lang niya yung AS, no? Yung Alaska Airlines. Okay, now let's go to our first plot. Okay, yung among yung mga name graphs natin, scatter plot is one of the most simple. Ginagamit yan, guys, for bivariate. Ibig sabihin, dalawang variables ang pinaplot natin. And these variables are numerical. So gusto natin makita yung relationship ng variable 1 and variable 2, kaya mag-scatter plot tayo. Okay, let's take a look at this, guys. Ito, ggplot. Okay, so this is the code, guys, ggplot pag magpa-plot tayo. Okay, tingnan natin, guys. First, you have the data. Di ba? Ano yung mga components ng natin ng isang grammar of graphic na plot, guys? Yung data dapat at saka yung mapping. Okay? Alright, so you identify the data, you identify the mapping. Okay, dito sabi natin, gagamitin natin si Alaska Flights, tapos ang ipa-plot natin sa X, si departure delay, tapos si Y, arrival delay. Take note that these are numerical, no? Alaska Flights, okay? Departure delay is arrival delay and departure delay. Pareho silang numerical. So pwede nating i-plot yan as scatter plot. Okay? By the way, guys, just for your information, okay. So just make sure that you also copy nyo lang to guys, Control-C, Control-V. Kasi pwede namang hindi na ilagay yung data is equal to. R will already understand that the first one is your data and then the second one is your mapping. Okay, so pareho lang yan guys. Whether you write data is equal to or mapping is equal to, R will understand that they are for data and for mapping. So i-run natin to yung first. Okay, what do you have guys? What do we have? Only a blank plot. Bakit? Kasi wala pa yung third element guys, yung geom. So in order for there to be a plot, kailangan the three elements should be present. Si data, si mapping, at saka si geom. Incidentally guys, if I run this, let's run this, we get the same. So perfect pa rin yun kahit hindi natin sinulat yung data is equal to at saka mapping is equal to. Okay, so let's continue now. So let's expand our code. ggplot, so you have your data, you have your mapping, and then we include geom point. Okay, ito na yung third layer natin, yung geom point natin. Okay, let's run this. So now we have this. No? Sometimes it's better to hindi siya basta-basta agad. It's better to plot here in your console. So go up ako. Okay. Let me just copy this code. Control-C. Dito ko i-copy sa console. Control-Enter. Okay. Export natin. Anyway, increase ko na muna. No? Okay, so that's the plot, guys. No? Ito yung departure delay natin, yung X, arrival delay sa Y. So while looking at the graph, let's look at the questions here. May mga questions tayo dito, guys. No? Okay, number one question. So what's the relationship between departure delay and arrival delay? Ano sa tingin nyo guys yung relationship nila? Looks like there's a positive relationship, di ba? Okay, may trend yun. May positive relationship yan. If we can draw a line here, okay, and you'll see that ang ibig sabihin ng positive, as one variable goes up, the other variable also goes up. Yung slope niya positive pa ganun. Pag pababa yung trend ng line, guys, that's a negative relationship. Okay? As one variable goes up, the other goes up. Or as one variable goes down, the other also goes down. Okay? Pag negative relationship naman, opposite. When one variable goes up, the other goes down. Okay? So, did you get a warning message, guys, when you plot this? Answer nga. What was the warning message when you plotted this dito sa source window natin, sa script window?
Sir, it was yung removed 5 rows containing missing values.
Correct. Thank you. So that was the warning message. Ang sinasabi ni R, merong mga 5 rows na walang na empty, so automatically remove niya. So that was the warning message. No? How about the clustering of the data? Anong ibig sabihin nito? Notice that the preponderance of the data seems to be in this area. No? Doon sa negative ng departure delay at saka negative din arrival delay. Ibig sabihin nun, there was a concentration na most of the flights either departed on time and arrived on time, but there were many that departed departed ahead of schedule and then arrived ahead of the schedule. Mas konti lang yung may late, no? Meron malaki nga dito, mga 200 plus, no? So ano ba to? 150, 175. Mga 2:25, no? 2:25 minutes. Yung delay ng ng departure, kaya tapos ang delay ng arrival niya 200 minutes, no? So may mga ganung kwento dito. Okay? So again, why was there a cluster here near 00? Ibig sabihin nga nun, either they arrived on time or ahead ng schedule yung pag-ano nila. Okay, so let me illustrate this, guys. Another example. Same din, guys. Same yung ano natin, yung data at saka yung mapping. Okay, dito tinanggal ko yung data pero ando doon pa yung mapping. So it doesn't matter, guys. Tapos geom smooth. Okay, so ito, no? Again, ando doon na naman yung message. May remove 5 containing non-finite value. So we will not discuss the merits of this plot. Ang gusto ko lang sabihin dito, guys, na you change the geom point, you change the plot. No? Kanina geom point, ngayon smooth na, iba na yung plot. Okay, one other thing, guys, pakitanggal yung plus dito. Sorry, medyo binawadali ko ng konti. Pakitanggal yung plus dito. Tapos ilagay nyo dito sa line, next line dito. Which is actually this one. Ito pala yun. Sorry. Ito na pala. Ito na yung next line pala. Okay, could you kindly run this, guys? Could you kindly run this? Ano nangyayari? Answer, please.
Sir, mine says error.
Oo, nag-error, guys, no? So, ang ibig sabihin nun, guys, kailangan, kasi pag nagle-layer tayo, magpa-plus lang tayo ng magpa-plus. We can have 20 layers there. Basta plus ka lang ng plus ng plus. That's what grammar of graphics is all about. It's all about layering your data. Pero, ang main ano nun, meron ka lang data, may mapping ka, tapos may mga geometric ano ka lang, magpa-plus ka lang ng mga other components. So, it should be, mali ito, guys. Dapat yung plus at the end of the line of the code. Magkaka-error tayo kung nasa beginning yung plus. Okay. I have 1 more minute, guys. So, na-notice natin, guys, na yung pag-plot natin, medyo hindi na natin makita. Ang hirap na makita nito, guys, no? Kasi overplotting na to. Anong ibig sabihin ng overplotting? One point on top of each other. Kasi nga ang daming andyan dyan sa points na yan, ano? So nag-overplot na sila. So hindi na sa atin masyadong clear. So how do we treat this? So dito sabi natin, yung overplotting, you can adjust the transparency or you can do a little jitter. Okay, yung nudges. Ang papakita ko lang example, guys, ng i-adjust natin yung transparency. And you do that, guys, by adding a layer. Hindi naman layer, J yung point pa rin, pero i-adjust natin. Kasi nasabi natin dito, yung J yung point natin, dapat ang transparency na 0.1. Okay, so let's run this. Okay, so by adding do sa transparency ng J yung point natin, if you notice, guys, yung mga medyo may concentration, sila pa rin darker. Sila yung very dark. Ibig sabihin dito talaga, dito yung concentration ng data. Pero dito mga light na, no? Yung iba light na eh. Okay, so you're able to see now more clearly. Pag ginawa natin kunyari 0.3, so let's just run that. So mas lesser yung medyo hindi pa rin clear, no? Mas lesser yung transparency. Okay? Clear yun, guys? Okay, and lastly, pakita ko lang to ito, ano nangyayari pag jitter and we end in this? So ito, hindi J yung point, but J yung jitter. So pag J yung jitter, guys, anong nangyayari? Ninanudge niya. Parang sinishake niya ng konti yung plot natin. So gamitin natin si J yung jitter instead of J yung point. Tapos dinidefine ko dito ang width at saka height. Okay? Run natin. Okay. So ano nangyari, guys? What do you notice about our data? Parang inalog natin data, di ba? Take note na parang yung concentration dito na sa more than 0 na. Kanina dito lang yung concentration niya. Okay? So, we'll continue with this next time. No? Itutuloy natin to. And then may I request you guys to go over this. Pakibasa ng konti. So basahin nyo yung jittering. Tapos kung pwede guys, move forward yun. Explore na yung mga susunod dito. Kasi self-explanatory naman to, no? So that when we meet again next meeting and then discuss this, medyo nakita ko na to. Okay, medyo nakita nyo na yung ano. Okay, so this will be our introduction to ggplo2. We'll spend more sessions about ggplo2 because data visualization is very important. Okay? Did you learn something today, guys? Paki-chat nga kung may natutunan naman. Yan. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I hope you're liking our subject. Isa lang desire ko, guys, sana, is for you to really get interested in this. I'm hoping that as I mentor you on this, mas nagiging ano yung desire you to learn more about ggplo2. Okay, with that, guys, we end our recording. Thank you so much. And then